Hello, nice to have you join us on the news at 5, reaching you from Channels Television's global headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm Dominic Iwiwa, and these are the stories and reports we're tracking at the moment. A three-story building located in the Alakija axis of Lagos State has collapsed, causing panic and confusion among residents of the area. According to the Permanent Secretary of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Mr. Femi Okeoshin-Tolu, the incident occurred unexpectedly and sent shockwaves through the community as residents and commuters rushed to the scene in fear of possible casualties and further structural failure. He said the sudden collapse reportedly occurred at about 11:40 a.m. today, disrupting normal activities in the neighborhood with people fleeing surrounding buildings for safety. Mr. Okeoshin-Tolu adds that the first responders are already on ground to rescue anyone trapped inside the rubble. We'll bring you more updates as they unfold. More bad news, this time from Rivers State, where Governor Siminalayi Fubara has ordered the immediate sealing of the site of the collapsed building along Odili Road, Port Harcourt, banning any further activities at the location. The governor gave the directive when he visited the scene of the incident today. He described the collapse as unfortunate and expressed sympathy to the victims. Governor Fubara said the site does not fall under the direct jurisdiction of the Rivers State government, but under the control of the Federal Housing Authority. According to him, the developer had repeatedly claimed that the state government lacked the authority to interfere in the project. Governor Fubara further directed that the site remain sealed while investigations into the cause of the collapse continue.
I am here because yesterday, I didn't come yesterday because I wanted to get the report first. And the commissioner did brief me that incident site first is not as claimed by the developer, is not under the jurisdiction of the state, but is under the jurisdiction of the Federal Housing Authority. He also informed me that when the project was ongoing, that they came here severally to inspect what is happening and also to see the level of compliance. But unfortunately, that the developer keep claiming that we don't have any right to interfere. But the issue is not about interfering, it's about the life that is being lost today. So we feel very sorry and very regrettable that such an incident should be happening in this 21st century. 21st century because technology has advanced, engineering has developed. I wonder what kind of engineer would even allow this kind of project to go on.
Now to the Judiciary, where the Court of Appeal Abuja has deferred until July 7 the hearing of substantive appeals seeking to set aside the judgment that ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to deregister the African Democratic Congress and 4 other political parties. A 3-member panel of the Appellate Court, led by Justice Abba Mohammed, agreed to a full-blown hearing of the appeals after housekeeping proceedings that enabled parties in the matter to identify and regularize all the processes they filed in the matter. Aside from the ADC, the other parties seeking the nullification of the Federal High Court judgments are the Action People's Party, Action Alliance, Accord Party, and Zenith Labour Party. The Appellate Court's panel held that all the appeals would be heard on the slated date. The Appeal Court had on June 16 ordered the stay of execution of the High Court judgment, even as it slammed the trial judge for disrespecting the judicial hierarchy. Staying in the Judiciary, Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court in Abuja has fixed September 29, 2026 for judgment in a suit seeking to compel the Inspector General of Police and other police authorities to reopen investigations into the death of singer Ileorioluwa Aloba, popularly known as Mohbad. The suit filed by Break the Silence Foundation argues that key aspects of the earlier investigation were not adequately explored. The court dismissed an application by an interested party seeking to join the case, while the foundation insists a fresh probe is necessary to ensure transparency, accountability, and justice nearly 3 years after the singer's death. The Rivers State House of Assembly is set to take up Governor Siminalayi Fubara's request for approval of the medium-term expenditure framework for 2026 to 2028, a document whose passage is required before the 2026 budget can formally be presented. The MTEF has taken on added significance given the prolonged disagreements between the executive and legislative arms of government in Rivers State over the budget process in recent years. Speaker Martin Amewele acknowledged that the framework was due for submission in September 2025 and noted that the last one considered by the Assembly dates back to 2022 under the previous administration. Despite the delay, he said the House would go ahead with its consideration in the overall interest of Rivers State. Lawmakers subsequently passed a motion to defer debate on the document and adjourn plenary to May 26.
The 2026 Rivers State government budget will be based on the economic outlook, forecasts and assumptions regarding the nation's oil production rates and price benchmarks, exchange rates, and the state fiscal policy direction, as explained in the attached medium-term expenditure framework. Thank you for the House's kind consideration of my request, and please accept, Mr. Speaker, the assurances of my highest regard. Signed, Siminalayi Fubara, GSSRS, Governor, Rivers State. And has not sent the medium-term expenditure framework, which is supposed to take the state for another 3 fiscal years. We ought to have received this document as of September 2025, but we have it before us now. We don't want to go back to too many rhetorics, but let's just keep moving. On that note, let me call for motion for adoption of this document.
Ijaw and Urhobo leaders in Warri have declared their acceptance of the final delineation report for the Warri Federal Constituency, urging the federal government and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to disregard ongoing agitations by the Shekiri ethnic nationality. The leaders also called for a special voter registration exercise in the newly created polling units and electoral wards to ensure broader participation in the 2027 general elections.
The atmosphere is one of unity and resolve as leaders, elders, women and youths of the Ijaw and Urhobo ethnic nationalities gather in Warri with repeated affirmations of support and satisfaction with the outcome of the Supreme Court-ordered delineation exercise, insisting that INEC's final report should stand. Addressing journalists, the leaders react to recent agitations by some Ishekiri groups and Urhobo representatives from Agbara Kingdom, alleging a misrepresentation of facts surrounding President Bola Tinubu's intervention and the final delineation of the Warri Federal Constituency. They urge the federal government and INEC to disregard agitations over the process and focus on implementation of the final report.
We call on the federal government and INEC to disregard the ranting of the Shekiris and the Urhobos of Agbara. The final report of the registration area/electoral wards of Warri South government area has been accepted by stakeholders who are already participating in the implementation of the conduct of the 2027 general elections. However, we call for a special registration of voters to be done in all the newly created polling units and registration areas in the Warri Federal Constituency of Delta State. This is to enable voters who have been denied political participation in the past register to vote in the 2027 general election and onward, and also enable transfer of voters to the newly created polling units and registration areas.
Reiterating their resolve for peace, fairness and equity, the group also rejects claims that Ijaw communities do not exist in Warri South local government area, citing historic records, government documents and INEC field reports as evidence of their long-standing presence and political participation in the area.
We Ijaw people, we are not a people that are afraid of your tools. We only wants to make peace.
INEC has concluded the delineation process. INEC have transmitted into their portal. There is nothing anybody can do about that.
They argue that the creation of the Ewe, Buloma and Ogbijo Warri urban wards is aimed at correcting years of political marginalization and ensuring fair representation for affected communities. While INEC has uploaded the final delineation report on its platform, these leaders are asking the electoral umpire to go a step further by conducting a special voter registration exercise in the newly created polling units and registration areas across the Warri federal constituency ahead of the 2027 general elections.
Another batch of Nigerian returnees from South Africa have arrived in Lagos as the federal government continues its evacuation program for citizens in South Africa. 66 returnees landed at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport at about 8:50 p.m. on Wednesday, bringing the total number evacuated so far to 324, following the arrival of the first batch of 258 Nigerians earlier this month. The evacuation, approved by President Bola Tinubu, was facilitated by Value Jet's chairman Otumba Kunle Shoneme, with support from Nigeria diplomatic officials in South Africa. The returnees expressed appreciation to President Tinubu, government agencies and other stakeholders for ensuring their safe return. NIDCOM says logistical challenges encountered during the first evacuation are being addressed, while the Minister of Foreign Affairs has assured that all registered Nigerians will be evacuated. As part of reintegration efforts, returnees will receive support packages from government agencies, corporate organizations and private donors. Plateau State government says it will strengthen collaboration with traditional institutions as part of efforts to tackle insecurity across communities. Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Ephraim Usman, stated this while outlining the ministry's priorities. He said traditional rulers remain critical partners in government's efforts to curb insecurity, noting that their closeness to the people places them in a strategic position to support peace and security initiatives. Mr. Usman also disclosed that the ministry will assess activities in 17 local government areas to ensure councils are meeting the expectations of government and the people.
We have the Honorable Special Advisor.
Yesterday, I convened a meeting of the heads of security agencies for us to review the situation, look at what we could have done better, and see how we can re-strategize. Yes, we're in the hot pursuit of the perpetrators of this wicked criminality, and we have some very useful leads, which I'm sure the AIG must have been adequately briefed, and we're taking very deliberate steps to see how we can bring those perpetrators to book. But one thing is very clear, is that we can't keep doing the same things and expect better results. We therefore need to continuously review what we've been doing. We need to re-strategize. And that's why I'm glad that the Inspector General of Police has sent you for an on-the-spot assessment and also to interact with government.
Now, in a bid to strengthen community policing and improve rapid response to security threats, the Jos North Local Government Council has distributed motorcycles to security agencies and local surveillance groups. The intervention is expected to boost mobility and enhance security operations across the local government area. Our correspondent reports.
A show of support for those on the front line of security. Dozens of motorcycles lined up at the Jos North Local Government Secretariat signal a renewed commitment to protecting lives and property across communities.
Security surveillance and then response.
Presenting the motorcycles, Chairman of Jos North Local Government Council, John Christopher, reminds those present that security remains the bedrock of development, stressing that no society can prosper without peace and safety.
The conventional security might not be everywhere. And that is why we are leveraging on the neighborhood watch, we are leveraging on the vigilante, we are leveraging on the forest guard, we are leveraging on all other non-conventional security outfits to come together and form the joint task force in Jos North for us to work and properly survey the local government in terms of internal security. We have been doing this for quite some time, and it has proven to be very, very effective.
The 30 motorcycles are distributed to the Nigerian Police Force, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Operation Rainbow, vigilante groups, and special surveillance squads operating across the 20 wards of Jos North. The council says the initiative is aimed at improving patrol operations, surveillance, and emergency response.
Cycle being commissioned and distributed today is to enhance surveillance and intelligent gathering, and also to help rapid response and routine security operation in our areas where vehicles may be difficult to access.
Traditional leaders welcomed the intervention, describing it as a timely boost to ongoing efforts to maintain peace and security.
Traditional Council is very, very much appreciative of what you are doing within the local government. Advising, when you are given, don't be overzealous in doing your job. Do it the right way, as you have been guided by the conventional security apparatus that we have, so that things will move right within the local government.
Security stakeholders also emphasize the importance of accountability and effective deployment of the new assets.
Say no to also drugs, say no to Sarasuka, say no to many things. So first you have to pay emphasis on drugs. These drugs, if you say no to drugs, Sarasuka will gradually eliminate.
For residents of Jos North, the motorcycles represent modern mobility. They symbolize hope for faster responses to security incidents and a safer environment for all. Percy Dabang, Channels Television News.
The Lagos State Waste Management Authority, LOMA, has intensified efforts to eliminate illegal waste disposal across the state and also strengthen enforcement operations in addressing the recurring environmental concern. The managing director of LOMA made this known while carrying out a cleanup exercise in the Apapa area of the state. He says residents must stop the habit of illegal waste disposal, pay their monthly waste bill, and report anyone found dumping refuse along the road.
In the last 4 weeks, it's become increasingly difficult to move around Lagos State without seeing heaps of refuse along the roads and in public spaces. Some residents have completely turned deaf ears to environmental laws. Instead of paying their waste bill, they resort to dumping their refuse along the road, defacing the metropolis. The growing menace has prompted officials of the Lagos State Waste Management Authority to assess some of the affected areas, moving around Mobile Road in Apapa, one of the most challenged waste corridors.
Our health is at risk, I'm telling you, because recently it is not like this, but suddenly, I think it started last 2 months, we start seeing and witnessing the waste in precarious states. Because we know formally it's not like this. When people dump the waste, say maybe within 2-3 days, they have come to dispose it. But suddenly, we start seeing heap of waste.
Community leaders in Apapa and PSP operators are concerned about the illegal dumping of refuse by traders and residents of informal settlements, utilizing spaces beneath the marine bridge for their daily economic activities.
One of the challenges that we have here is the economic migrants who are largely staying around here. Most of under the bridge, you find a lot of them. Some of them come from Papa Ibom, which is on the other side. They come there, they push their cars because they used to come at the media before, but we have pushed them away from the media to expect people to patronize the PSP. Mostly it comes from that side. They come here and dump the waste.
We suggest that it will require some kind of enforcement. Somebody who will add police here so that this thing will not be happening. If that could be done, it will reduce it.
If your environment is clean, you have good health. If you don't, you're always sick every day. But a lot of people don't look at it that way. So far as long as the dirt is not in their house, they're ready to throw it on the road.
It's the same scenario at Kofoa Bayomi roundabout, where Loma officials are clearing accumulated refuse along that road. Corporate and government facilities occupying Warehouse Road, Apapa, are also affected by indiscriminate waste disposal.
Lagos State has to do something on these things. Our office is smelling inside. No matter how you fleet, how you put whatever air freshener, what is smelling because of this place. We are ready to cooperate. But the problem is, even if you put a night guy, is at his own risk.
The managing director of Loma calls for strong partnership from the private sector and also encourages residents to embrace waste sorting as a means of generating additional income.
Please pay your waste bills. The PSP cannot work if you're not paying the waste bill. We started cleaning up statewide, more than 57 routes, 3,000 black spots. You'll see a cleaner state within the next 7 days or so. However, the medium-term solution is source your waste. The plastic, the paper and cardboard, the aluminum can, the glass, keep it separate.
The Lagos State government says more refuse dump sites will be opened in the coming days to make waste disposal easier for the PSP operators. Government is also warning that anyone found disposing waste indiscriminately will be prosecuted.
On business news, Nigeria's drive to diversify its economy gains fresh momentum as the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Mr. Adele Alake, announces the discovery of major lithium and platinum deposits in Kaduna State. The development is raising expectations for increased investments, job creation, and higher export earnings from the mining sector, with global demand for critical minerals rising amid the transition to clean energy. The government says the discovery strengthens Nigeria's position in the international minerals market and supports efforts to reduce dependence on oil revenues while accelerating industrial growth. The federal government is accelerating the adoption of community-based renewable energy projects as part of efforts to improve power supply and support industrial growth. At the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry's Renewable Energy Outlook Conference, policymakers and industry leaders outlined plans to reduce reliance on costly diesel generators through expanded renewable energy deployment.
Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry is concerned about the cost of energy transition in Nigeria, and this Renewable Energy Outlook Conference is proof of that. Discussing policy, investment, and industrial scale deployment has the Minister of Power, Mr. Joseph Tegbe, in attendance. He notes the consequences of insufficient energy to the real sector, a challenge he promises will be short-lived.
This generator as a primary power source is drawing to a close. And we're seeing that. We're deploying mini-grids, solar-powered mini-grids across all universities. We're deploying to teaching hospitals. We're identifying 85 most densely populated communities in Nigeria. And we're deploying solar mini-grids through RE, some of them through World Bank funded, through AFTB program, through JICA program, to our markets, to our universities, to our teaching hospitals.
This conversation is intentional, which LCCI says will be followed with actionable points that will make operational difference, especially using renewable energy.
Over 60-70% of our people that live in rural areas, they don't actually need the national grid. You only need electricity to charge their phone and give their light. You can now imagine to take nearly 50% of our people that live in the rural area off the national grid, and you are giving them 24 hours light based on renewable energy. Then the concentration will be able to be on electricity as a means of production. As I've said, you can now produce electricity in a cluster, encourage cluster of industries.
Nigeria has 37 trillion cubic feet of proven natural gas reserves, receives an average of 5.5 kilowatts per day of solar irradiation, and is among the highest in the world, and yet delivers just about 4,900 megawatts of available grid capacity to a population of over 220 million people. LCCI believes this is an anomaly that has to be fixed.
And that's it on the news at 5. For updates, kindly visit our website at www.channelstv.com. I'm Dominic Iwiwo. Up next is The World Today.